On October 14 at Silicon Mountains 2025, Ucom and Nokia signed a new agreement. To discuss it, I'm sitting today with Dr. Rolf Werner, Senior Vice President, Head of Mobile Networks Europe at Nokia. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Let's start with this question. What is the significance of this partnership for Armenia and the region, and how will this impact the development of Armenia's telecom industry?
Well, it's a wide question, actually. As you can imagine, we as Nokia, we run a lot of projects worldwide when it comes to 6G development. Of course, AI being a native part of 6G. We're running a lot of initiatives where we're leading edge, whether it's in US, also in Europe. So lots of projects we're running. Having us here in Armenia is very important, not only for the country of Armenia, but also demonstrating that there is more than Armenia. It's a central hub because you can develop further. Coming to Armenia as such, I think Armenia has a great chance with a lot of education, with a lot of universities being here, highly skilled people. 6G AI will further be a catalyst for everything that returns into a wonderful digitalization of Armenia. So we as Nokia, together with our partner Ucom, are very, very happy to further develop the 6G and AI here in Armenia.
If you were to describe the main goal of this partnership in just one word, what would our word be?
It's very important that we jointly work on future projects. And coming to your question, one word would be co-innovate. And co-innovation is, I think, name of the game. So as always in the Gs, whether it was 3G, 4G, 5G, now coming 6G, it takes about 10 years. But until the 10 years, so we're 4 or 5 years ahead, until the 10 years, you have to co-innovate to then bring the right applications and the right approaches and features for the customers going forward. So co-innovation is really, really important.
Look, Nokia has extensive experience in AI, 6G. How are these technologies going to be applied within Ucom's infrastructure?
Yeah, so Ucom infrastructure today with a perfect network in 5G already, with a coverage above 90%, which is amazing, even if you compare to Western countries. I think we have a great chance to further develop. So 5G is one step, but 6G will then have an additional possibility for networks that sense and act and feel. And what does it mean, sense, act and feel? We will see a possibility to maybe work in the network without devices. So we have a possibility to use either glasses or moving objects, moving subjects in the network, which will then help if you use a device or if you don't use a device to apply features and applications that you've not seen before. And as always, when we came from 4G to 5G, it was more about industrial IoT. 6G will be much more advanced compared to 5G. But the key of the question is we have to innovate until then, because there will be features and possibilities we so far do not even know about. But we have to think about it.
What you're describing is very impressive. I'm interested, what steps does Nokia take to prepare its partners and the wider ecosystem for this transition to 6G?
Yeah, of course. So look, we are leading very, very important projects, for example, in Europe. The Hexa-G project, which is a European foundation project, Nokia is leading the standardization there. We furthermore have the Sustain 6G, which is also an EU project. Again, Nokia is the leader of this project. And the way we set the standards, the way we develop it, not only on the political level, but also on the industrial level, where we combine all the knowledge from various partners. So we bring the ecosystem, we bring the right stakeholders into play and can then develop the industry together with Ucom. Coming back to your original question, co-innovation is very important because we bring the ecosystem, we bring the standards, we bring the references from worldwide. And this is something where Armenia, Ucom, and of course the whole digital infrastructure can benefit from.
Could you please explain what autonomous networks mean in the context of 6G, how they might transform the way the operators manage their systems?
Of course. So we do say AI is very important in the network system. If today you have a failure in your system, the network is, to a certain extent manually repaired. So you have an outage, you have a dropout of users, or you see an issue on the energy consumption here and there. What we want to achieve in the future is having an autonomous network which is automatically healing failure rates. So the customer experience will go up because automatic healing means much faster and being much more autonomous. Furthermore, you will have a learning system. So think of energy management when, for example, at night here in Yerevan, maybe between 3 and 4 o'clock, you have much less consumption of traffic on your network, which means you automatically go into a better energy consumption. You can, bring down the system. Because if there's no traffic, you bring it in a sleep mode. In Nokia, we call it extreme deep sleep mode. And then you have more or less a 0-watt environment, which is very important today with sustainability and environment. So an autonomous network is learning from traffic patterns, and an autonomous network is always able to adapt to the level of what you need for this network. If you have heavy traffic, you need more bandwidth. If you have lower traffic, you decrease bandwidth and you can decrease the energy consumption. So that's only one example. The other example is when you have, for example, cars driving around in a certain city, you need to see more of a coverage with your network in the so-called sensing network. Because traffic management could another way of applying 6G and AI where cars amongst each other can communicate and then they help each other before an accident can arrive. Because most of us, we're all drivers, we cannot look around the curve. But if a car is getting alarmed that there's a fast car coming the wrong way, this is part of the sensing network. And since, an autonomous network can also apply the features which you will develop, it's also called machine learning, then in the future you know exactly where traffic hotspots are and you can manage your smart city much better. That just being said is one example. We have many, many more, but that needs to be co-innovated going forward.
What about the users? What kind of benefits will they notice? For example, in connection quality, speed, reliability, are there going to be 6G services like gaming services, business applications?
Everything's possible. So look, we have today 5G Advanced. Users, I would call it normal retail users. They care for 4K, video stream. They care for 8K video stream. I'm not talking TikTok. I'm talking, television, high resolution television. Going forward, there are today certain limitations when it comes to 5G and the bandwidth, especially when a cell is crowded and overloaded. So the autonomous network is able to manage traffic much better. So latency will be better, bandwidth management, uploading is always a challenge when somebody is taking a shot and then uploading it. So we have downlinks, of course, being very performing. Uplinks are also getting much better going forward. And the idea is really to say this autonomous network adopts to the specific need in that moment. So customer experience will be, well, look, here's an event. I'm at a concert or I'm at a sports event. The autonomous network will apply accordingly. And that's going to create a super customer experience going forward.
Can we expect to see new digital services or applications emerge as a result of the network modernization?
Yeah, absolutely. So my really favorite example is that wherever I go, wherever I travel, the bandwidth and the need, what I'm looking at, whether it's downlink, uplink, will be applied according to what I do on my device or what I do not even do on my device. Because thinking of, connecting devices is one thing, but we're gonna see, with the Meta glasses, the goggles you have, lots of it will be embedded in glasses. So going forward, we see couple of X of increase in traffic uses when it comes to glasses, and these will be new features, new devices. So think of using your WhatsApp by not touching anything, just by using your fingertip, and then you see it scrolling in front of you. That requires a lot of computing power coming from the network, because you cannot embed it too much into the glasses. So everything will be in the network, but it will go with a lot of bandwidth into your glasses. And going forward, ideally, you don't even need glasses anymore.
That used to be a science fiction,
no, it's
if we go back several years.
No, it's not too far away. Because look, 2030 will be the year of a 6G implementation. And we have the technology already. For now, it's a question of standardization, it's a question of deployment, and of course, it's a question of investment. The companies so far are only, amortizing the 5G investment, which is only like 4 or 5 years ago, let's face it. But going forward, you need to get ready for 6G. That's why we're so happy that we have signed today with Ucom the 6G agreement, because you need to be ready for what's coming in 4 or 5 years. If you're not, you will never apply to the features and to the new development that's needed.
Let's go to the next question, which is actually about how much is Armenia ready. Actually, over 90% of Armenia's population has already access to 5G.
Right.
Does this mean the local market is actually ready for next level technologies like 6G?
Everything. So, by all respect for any kind of comparisons, I'm traveling a lot in the region, in the neighbor region of Armenia, and of course, I came a few times to Armenia. And I would like to compare Armenia a little bit to Switzerland. Switzerland and Armenia have something in common. They can act very fast, and you have a highly educated population. And you have highly skilled people, and of course, the Western orientation helps a lot in adopting new technologies. So I think digitalization has a perfect ground here in Armenia because of the highly skilled and highly trained people you have. So going forward, and of course I listened carefully to the Prime Minister, he spoke a lot about education. He said it maybe 10 times, 3 times of education, education, which is so important. I see Armenia getting ready more and more on the educational level. And the educational level, whether it's programming, AI, Python, we heard about all these buzzwords. So Armenia as such, being very fast in the administration, bureaucracy, ideally staying low, and at the same time supporting technology companies like Ucom in the 5G development today, but going forward for 6G is super, super important. So there is nothing that's missing in Armenia when it comes to a bright future of developing it. And like I said, myself running Europe, I have the comparison to UK, France, Germany, Italy. There's not a big distance. There's not a big distance, because when you think about 91% coverage of 5G in Armenia, well, that's only 6-7% more in the Western countries, whether it's UK, France, Germany. So it's 97, 98%. And we also have a very condensed situation in Yerevan, which is the most important city, of course. And having said that, I think everything's ready in healthcare, industrial IoT. You have a lot of industries coming here, lots of investments also coming from other, technologies, whether it's Synopsys, other companies. So it's great. I think everything's perfect.
That's good to hear.
No, of course, of course.
How do you envision Armenia's digital transformation in the next 5-10 years?
Well, it's always going to be at the spearhead of, the region around here, because you develop faster, you can do much faster. Investments will come to the country. especially with the latest political development, which has been, I think, freeing the situation to a certain extent, because any crisis doesn't help. So that's over now. So I think you can simply go into a very positive future going forward. There shouldn't be a hesitation when it comes to, further investments from Western countries. Armenia is ready for a lot of healthcare development. I see, especially around IoT, a possibility, logistics, because it's central. So transport will be very important. And what you never should forget, there's of course the consumption part, so the retail customers in digital, but you also have to think about the companies who sometimes are innovating earlier than what you do in the retail world. So connecting devices on the shop floor, in factories, connecting traffic, you have transport, logistics, whether it's trucks, whether it's cars, delivery, everything needs to be connected. But I think with the density of 5G being at 91%, 6G going forward maybe at 95 to 99%, that will be great for digitalization of this country. So I'm 100% positive about Armenia.
Do you also believe that Armenia has the potential to become a regional hub for innovation, for AI? What steps do you think should be taken to reach that status?
Yeah, of course. So we have as Nokia customers in a lot of other countries around Armenia. So call it Uzbekistan, call it Kazakhstan, call it Georgia. So we're in many places, apart from Armenia, of course. And I have a little bit the comparison. The speed that you apply here, and I'm, of course, referring to Ucom because we work closely with them, is just outstanding. It's not that I'm saying other countries don't develop as fast. They do, and we see that. But as Armenia, especially with the great language skills you have here, you can be much more advanced. So I do meet many, many more people speaking fluent English in beautiful Armenia than I see it in other places around that. So language is key. Language is definitely key. And once you can apply 6G, AI, any kind of digital possibilities you have in Armenia, this will definitely go into various directions. So being a hub in Armenia, and like I said, having a low level of friction when it comes to low distances between decision makers, because that's the beauty of a smaller country. You have a low distance between people who can really decide, then you can be faster. And speed to be applied in being a hub is so important. And then you create being a reference for the whole region.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.